Zimbabwe. But let's come back home now. And of course, we've also had quite a number of things happening. And let's start with an interesting case that was before the legislators yesterday. And this was an attempt to, a petition rather, to block the Deputy President, William Ruto, from going for presidency. And this was put across by Kisumu Member of Parliament, Fred Oda. Your thoughts, Bernard?
Yeah, the petition came as a shock, but looking at...
do you think it made sense?
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me. It did not make any sense because looking from what has been happening towards the 2017 elections, as I've said earlier, the opposition concentrated so much in putting hurdles, those they perceived to be opponents of Raila Odinga. And now that Raila has declared during the recent TV interview that he might be actually on the ballot come 2022. Now you see supporters trying to identify possible enemies. And in this scenario, those that have already been identified and marked as those who might prevent Raila from ascending to power are one, William Ruto, and two, Moses Wetangula. Now these are the targets of the ODM or Raila supporters. And they are going to face it rough because from where I see it, I thought things, or the opposition, or Raila supporters, if they know Raila is going to presidency, could be concentrating on electoral reforms, because that's what Raila said is a big challenge that, that prevented him from winning. So instead of focusing on electoral reforms and ensuring that we have an electoral commission, the way Mheshimiwa said, that can perform, they are now concentrating on attacking possible opponents or possible enemies. And it's not going to work because in this country we have experience of how things operate. The more they target these guys, the more they get popularity, and the more they are going to win the elections.
All right, Fabian, coming to you on that particular petition to block the deputy president. It would not just be the deputy president, it would also be the assistant governors, the deputy governors, because they come as a package. According to him, they come in as one package, and as a result, when you serve the 10 years, then your time is up. You cannot then again go for president or governor.
One, that is not a petition, is a combination of people's interests. And as according to Article 119, it is not anywhere coming as a petition. If you see the office of president, it is established under Article, the duties which pertain the president is Article 136 and Article 137. Article 147 and 134 talks about personal assistant of the president. So the deputy president works as personal assistant. So these are two entities which are different. The president and deputy president are different. That was not a petition. Even if you bring a constitutional change, you say that deputy president is the same like a president, it will be hard for you to show us the difference, to show they are the same office, because the deputy president is not the president. So these are two different entities. So that one for yesterday was not a petition. It is not admissible as the meaning of a petition. Now, when it's not admissible, even if you go to a legislation proposal, you go to a constitutional change, you'll have hard time to tell us the office of a deputy president or the office of a deputy governor is the same for the governor, or the office of the deputy president the same as the president. So they are different entities. Yeah.
Okay, Kipchumba.
First of all, at times when I sit down and listen to the things that happen in our parliament, I really regret why I even took part in voting. Because
why is that?
Look at the problems we have as a nation currently. Yeah. Judiciary, there has been cuts in the judiciary. We have Solai, we do not have conclusive answers. Sugar issue, we do not know even if we are consuming mercury or we are consuming gold in sugar. We have the questions we ask ourselves are too much. But look at what our parliamentarians sit down in parliament and discuss, blocking person A from going there. We're coming to the crux of the matter. One, when a dog barks at you, don't take much interest in the dog. Just look for the owner. So in terms of this petition, or whatever Mheshimiwa will call it, my interest now, when I look at it from a political angle, I look at the owners of the dog. The dog might be the most silent one in the stable, but it is owned by somebody. This coming at the backdrop of an interview that the former Prime Minister had with a local TV. Listening to the Prime Minister, you get a feeling that this man has a take on the ballot in 2022. And what happens, as Bernard talked about, is that the people around him, everybody now, they are falling off themselves trying to do all manner of things. But the question is this: as a country, are we going to legislate because of individuals? I think no. If today we have to take time and to say that we are blocking William Ruto from becoming president, every Kenyan has a vote. That vote can block William Ruto. Why subject the whole country? At times, I think we should surcharge our members of parliament for eating our money and delivering.
You have a member
nothing.
of parliament sitting.
I can answer it.
Let me finish. Secondly, there is another thing that must also be looked at. The presidency, the new constitution gave us a unitary presidency, whereby we do not have the office of the vice president and the office of the president. We have the presidency. That is why you do not hear us talking about a minister in the office of the deputy president, because it is one singular entity. But there is another thing in that thing. The entity is one, but the individuals, their individual rights as bestowed to them. The rights are not bestowed by the constitution. You are born with it. You cannot, now that you have been a president, a deputy president, and Uhuru Kenyatta, be barred from being president. You are not co-presidents. You are a deputy president.
Okay.
Secondly,
I want us to manage time a little bit, so I want Mheshimiwa to maybe just answer to some of the questions you've asked. Mheshimiwa,
yes.
Members of Parliament, what are you doing in Parliament?
Thank you. My colleague here is an advocate, and he asked why he votes. I want him to go to be and to encourage people to be voting. This is what you need to understand. As an advocate, Article 95 is the one which examines the Parliament, and it gives us our mandate. Now there is a public debate and assumption that Parliament is the one supposed to do everything.
It's not supposed to do everything, but I think his question, his issue is the fact that we're concentrating on non-essentials right now. Here we are concentrating in Parliament on blocking the deputy president, yet we have contraband sugar. We have sugar that is laced with mercury and copper, which we still don't know for sure whether that is the case. We have the issue of solar. There are many things that Kenyans feel matter to them right now, and you as a member of Parliament has been put there to legislate, oversight, and represent. We don't feel represented. We are being represented on things that don't matter to us right now. We really, as a Kenyan, Mwananchi who has no food on his table, may not care who's going to be president in 2022. We care that I have food.
Sure. You have put it very well. I was still doing some clarification.
Okay.
So Lie Dam, the committee, they are still working on it. The sugar story is more. Every corner is working on it. And I think given the report we got in the Parliament, we already given the recommendation. It was yesterday supposed to be debated, but the debate is still going to resume. So it's not that this petition is the only thing we are working with. And otherwise about the petition can be done by anybody. A member of Parliament cannot do a petition. You receive a petition from your voters. So, and everybody has a right to give a petition. So we cannot, only because this petition came, that is only what we are doing. The only thing I'm telling you, the whole country is not Parliament alone. The whole country, main focus is politics of 2022. No, you want to put only members of Parliament, they are the one doing 2022. No, everybody is like 2022.
When you say everybody, the electorate may not be everybody. Here you have electorate here that is saying, no, we don't care about 2022.
Okay, the electorate here, they say no, they don't care about 22. But the petition, it came from voters, the electorate. Because there's a member of Parliament that will get the petition from a voter and they represent it. Because now, how can you fail to represent a petition from a voter? And see how when it came. When it came, it was shut down within 15 minutes. We shut down within 15 minutes because even the petition is not admissible.
Okay.
But
all right.
It's something that should not be allowed to go. Even that 15 minutes, it's 15 minutes of Kenyan taxpayers' money. If we were to calculate here how much the Kenyan
that is true. That is true. But I think he makes a valid point that at the point where a petition is brought, it is their responsibility to present it. They cannot shoot it down themselves before.
We know why this petition was brought. It is because it is targeting individuals. There are very many petitions which are targeting serious sectors in this country, but we know why
That have
they'll
been
be shut
ignored.
down.
See, before we
Yes.
proceed, there was another one which came to bring the hedge of the president. Another team say that it is targeting some individuals. It is true. It is true, politics will be targeted. But now when you are targeted, you should be composed enough to know how to shoot things down. So this petition, it came. But the question is, it was not admitted. So the 15 minutes you took for Kenyan taxpayer who has right
Sitting
to
allowance.
explain the petition. Yeah. And then
All right, I want us to move away from that and maybe just get comments because time is moving. Bernard, we also have the vetting that's going on, and this is a question chapter 6, leadership and integrity, where we have the likes of Ndegwa Mohoro, who's been, appointed as ambassador. But when you look at the track, and the members of parliament brought out a valid point that there are many unresolved issues, when he was in charge.
There were so many issues that came up yesterday when I was looking at those intervetting process. But the challenge and the main problem we have in this country, which was created with the current 2010 constitution, is that all these committees are headed by members of the Jubilee party, which is president's party. So it becomes very difficult for them to balance as much as they want to play their role of oversight. But it becomes very difficult for them to challenge the president's decision. I heard yesterday when they were vetting Manois Pisu, and one of the members of parliament from Nandi, I don't know, Nandi or Wasin Bishop, raised pertinent issues concerning the integrity of Manois Piso as during his past work at the
Speaker of State
House. And the issues the MP raised touched on issues like corruption, soliciting bribes, soliciting money to fund government projects, which has already been funded by the taxpayers' money, but he still coerces employees of State House and other departments to give in money. But the chairman just shut him down and said, no, don't bring those things here. Those things could have come from somebody, from a petitioner, and not a member of parliament. So what's the role of that vetting committee if it cannot ask such kind of questions?
Or even give time for those questions to be answered.
Time for those questions. What they are doing is just rubber stamping on what the president has already done. And unless they get instructions from the presidency that, okay, that one, we put his name there, but you can
work around it.
Yeah, that's when they can reject. But it's very important that they must have looked at some of these issues. Look at Mohoro when he was DCI. There are so many unresolved murder cases
and high profile, yes, starting with Msando.
But he was saying, when he was asked those questions, he says, you might have intelligence, but you don't have evidence. What's the, I looked at his response.
It's a blame game. Let me come to you, Honorable Muli, because you're a member of parliament. Is the vetting exercise that we do an exercise in futility? Because my question sometimes is, even somebody who has questions on their integrity, should they even be on that list to start with?
Thank you. A scenario which it comes to another one. Because for we members of parliament, we receive the names. We cannot nominate from the word go. So our work is to receive and vet. If I see you as a scenario of Ben Chuma, we received. He came to parliament, but he was rejected by members of parliament. And I'm telling you, we see many who will be rejected. I cannot give you their name because the report has not yet been tabled in the parliament. You see many who will be rejected. Our work is to oversight, the last oversight, so that we can say this one is not fit. And even you can see even the committee, the question they are being put on. So our work is the final stage when we get nomination to oversight and check somebody is he the best person or is not within chapter 6.
Okay.
That has not come out very clearly, Mheshimiwa. When you look at the past vettings, apart from Ben Chuma, who else as these vettings?
Most seem to have, gotten us.
Just go through.
Go through.
Even those that the public knows maybe academic credentials are questionable, they just
Kipchumba, your thoughts on that as we wind up?
One of the things that at times when we look at ourselves as society, leadership is the mirror of society. Kenyans love mediocre things. When our parliamentarians give us mediocre things, let us not act like we come from an alternate planet. We are all of us Kenyans. Parliamentarians are part of us. We have some of the people at the leadership who have substandard way of thinking. That is, we get substandard things. It is just like in a pipe. When you put bad water or contaminated water will leave at the exit. So that is what we are getting. This is what we are in, what we call a buyer's remorse. The voters are now realizing that actually it was just song and dance. There was nothing in it.
Is there any hope for us changing that script?
No. As long as we are using politics as the economical way of doing politics in this country, whereby the man with the biggest bank account will win the seat, we can't get anything. But now addressing ourselves to the issues of this vetting. There is something that anytime people, when the president nominates people, the question I ask myself is this. 1, do these people reflect what this country is? At times, yes. 3, do these people appreciate the problems we have as a country? At times, no. The people who have been nominated, Mano Isipisu, this is a person who has been served at the Commonwealth, State House, having served at these levels. One will have a feeling that at an individual capacity, when your times come, you the village and impart societies. You go there and mentor the next Mano Isipisu. As a person who has risen to the rank of DCI at Ndegwa Muhoro, when you have gone to that position, you go home a peaceful man. You go home, now your work should be to go and talk to the people who are in Somalia, our army guys there. Your work is to go to Kiganjo and encourage people that I have worked through this system. The system has worked for me. But now that they have been nominated, the question we also ask ourselves is this: does it mean that there is no youthful person who can be an ambassador in this country? I don't know. 3, when we are vetting these people, and even when our parliamentary committees ask questions, some of those questions are so lopsided that any man, even if you are asleep today and you are told, wake up and answer this, you know the answer without thinking. You ask yourself, are they engineered to a certain thing, or is it that we just have people there who lack capacity to appreciate matters? A good example is Ndegwa Muhoro. The question they were asked yesterday, yes, I had the questions around the high issues of high-profile people. Nobody was talking about low-profile Kenyans who died. Does it mean this parliament represent high-profile people? Nobody asked a question on Tatu City. There has been a lot of issues around this year about Tatu City, but no parliamentarian was brave enough to ask them, what was your role? When somebody gives a substandard answer like, I had intelligence but no evidence. When you have intelligence, you can go for the evidence. So these things we need to ask ourselves, does it the nation moving forward? Okay. And lastly, in terms of these nominations, at times there are people who have been nominated, who have served the country well, who understand Kenya more than any other person. But when you also send some people who are at times disgraceful to represent us outside there, if they couldn't represent us well at
on a local
the Republic, what will they do? The disservice they'll do to this country
when they go out there. We need to wind up. I need your closing comments, Mheshimiwa. In just a minute, please, your closing comments. You can respond to him, but your closing comments as well.
Yes, I want to respond to my friend. In Parliament, there is a law, but we work with standing orders. When we ask the question, there is hazards. There is a committee which will sit down and evaluate the hazards and make the judgment, as well as we make our recommendations. You know that when we say we ask this kind of question, that kind of question leads to the other question. If you see people like Mugiki, they are all people who gave the DC a hard time to answer. So the question which you ask in the Parliament, they are within the standing orders. These standing orders, there's a committee who sit down and make the judgment. I don't understand to you what is a viable questions. To you,
look at the question, Ben, the questions that were asked to Rai during the sugar probe. Some of those questions were not even related to anything.
Okay, it is not easy. If you ask members of Parliament to ask what is on your mind, it is not easy. We know what is in your mind. But when we do this job, we do with utmost good faith. Because these people, when they bring to us, they have good conduct from CID headquarters. They have letter from had corruption, they have been cleared by had corruption, they have been cleared.
So
So
I'll
that
need
is
you, I'll
not
need
our
you to wind
duty.
up so that I can get Bernard's closing comments very briefly.
Well, the only my word up is this: I like Kenyans to have trust with institutions, to have trust in institutions. This is the only way we can work to bring this country come together. If we work in suspicious of institutions, we are not growing.
Okay, Bernard, your closing comments, please.
Thank you. On three things on what we have discussed today. I think the one corruption should still continue. We need to see convictions. We are still waiting for even just one high-profile conviction, which we have not seen so far.
Well, somebody might say like the former town clerk and
Gaku and Sami Kirui.
Yeah, I think that one, but this of NYS and this, since the president started cracking the whip, we need to see high-profile conviction. Then the issue of vetting, I think Parliament, the committees of Parliament are very bloated. They are so huge. They are like classrooms. Like the committee of the one headed by Kega, Kanini Kega, has almost 40 members, actually 39 members. How can these members even contribute substantially to issues? Like one is shouting from the other side, another one from there. So there's no coherent. Then there have been accusations of bribes from a section of members of Parliament and intimidation. So we don't know from which side, but we are told from outside, and this intimidation comes in monetary form to influence the outcome of those reports. Next, on the vetting processes, I think before somebody comes to Parliament, to a committee for vetting, the committee must have done background checks on this person, including having NIS reports on what this person, so that when you ask this question, because I have a friend who was being vetted, and I happen to work closely
I'll need
with
to
him.
cut you short because of time, and I think we're out of time, and closing comments are meant to be very brief, but I think we'll have to wind it up right there. Kipchumba, I know I've not given you a chance, but you also had a chance to talk a little bit there. But anyway, we cannot finish this subject. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. And that for Kangundo, Bernard Wakoli, who's a political analyst, and Kipchumba Karori, who is a lawyer. And it brings us to 23 minutes to 8 o'clock, and we're going to take a short break, but do stay with us. We've got stories making headlines. Later on, we'll also be looking at what's hot on Hot Topics right here on Morning Express.